Good afternoon, friends. I believe all of you can see me. First of all, let me thank Professor Ashwini Kumar, Mansi Dhanraj Shetty, and the whole team behind this Poetry Live in Kitab Khana and Indian Novels Collective. I was feeling how we are deprived of the beautiful Delhi summer, Delhi spring, which is a small window. It's about 3 weeks, and it began with the spring equinox on the 22nd. And we have the lockdown from the 23rd. The mellow sun outside, the beautiful greenery, and I have right across my balcony a mulberry tree full of crimson and purple fruits. But there is not even a squirrel to come and enjoy the fruits. A stray boy or two will look up longingly and then pass on. No one is there. And looking out of my balcony, I see a bright sunny afternoon, very temperate weather, but I'm not able to go out and enjoy, or rather indulge in the Delhi spring that comes once for a brief while. But I can look at it from my balcony and enjoy from afar. I think it's like reading a poem and enjoying it in our mind. So this is the way it is. We can't be obstinate about anything. We can't just be petulant that we should have everything. I think this is all what we have learned from life, and that's, I think, how life goes on. The kind of indulgence, I think, we have to hold back once in a while and hope for the best outcome after this brief incarceration. I hope it is brief. Let's see. So I'll begin my reading. The first poem I'm going to read is titled Concentration. Blowing into powdered mud, soon the dust gives way to hard earth. So does bran to rice, or the air on a close-cropped head of a child to the white scalp skin. The ephemeral is always ready to part, revealing the permanent. The waters of the Red Sea parted, offering the hard seabed to Moses and Aaron and the Israelite hordes to pass and enter Sinai. The everyday you part and yield, you with a capital Y. Then begins the telecast, unlimited. Now the next one is titled Expectantly. This is an old poem. Many of you know that I was in Libya for a while, and I remember a journey from my home base Ajdabia in the south to Benghazi. It's about 200 kilometers. Expectantly. An overcast sky, a strong cold north wind blowing down from the Mediterranean, heading north along a happy-go-lucky road at 180 kilometers an hour, the turmeric terrain of the Upper Sahara, punctuated with stunted olives, eucalyptus, and lesser smudges of dark green. straggling shrubs hopeful to make it to the future, small flocks of sheep and a precious goat, road signs with a picture of a camel. But what's here? The intermittent tattered patches of green, grass sprouting at first rain, expectantly, as if they were waiting with bated breath to be tapped on the head by pit-pat raindrops, calling out to them, rise. Many said that it was written in 2010, and many say that there was a prophetic tinge to the poem after the Arab Spring broke out. My next poem is titled "The Refugee." This is about a man who was terminally ill. I met him casually, I met him briefly, and he told me his life story, also briefly. So these are the thoughts that were triggered by that experience. The refugee. He came like a refugee from the second world, craving human company. Terminally ill, he seemed to seek vitality and hope, his past tumbling from his lips as if in a confession. He felt visibly light and relieved. Life and death, two sides of the same coin, he seemed to traverse the thin mass in between. Like a scout atop a tower who can see both sides of the railroad and the two fast approaching trains on the same track and not able to stop them, he assumed nonchalance. Destiny's immediacy and the dismay at discovering it made him seem to disbelieve his own words. Hesitantly, in a suggestive mode now, instead of falling back on the assertive ways he was obviously wont to do. His days on earth defined, a reminder to those who are still in the blind fray. The next one is a light one, or as you can see, there is something more than that also. This is about, again, my own experience, and also underlying it is the story of Saint Francis of Assisi, who used to address every living and non-living being brother and sister. And there's a little story I'm going to tell about a prayer that will come at the end. I'll tell you at the time. So the poem is titled "The Miracle of the Flies." The Miracle of the Flies. Sitting down to meditate, flies alighting on the tip of the nose, nostrils, between the eyelashes, inside the ear, right on the center of the brow. So this is meditation. But if you do not grow impervious to flies and other such things, how are you ever going to get one-pointedness? Should you have been distracted by these tactile marauders? All the big sins are attached to the skin. Better learn continence of the sense of touch. What better opportunity than this to go beyond the skin? You command away from the consciousness anything that intrudes and keep the inner peace. You could also hold at bay the sandstorms very much like Mother did the diluvial rains and screeching banshees of thunderstorms through her prayer of the sepulchre. This is called Kaldara Japam. And this is a prayer believed to have been used by the early Christians, which would yield magical effect. When my mother used to recite it when torrential rains and thunder came, they subsided. That's my experience. So the prayer of the sepulchre, she chanted to magical effect. If only I could work this ban on the flies. Suddenly the flies were no longer on my face. All left immediately as if reading my thoughts, forming like dark rain clouds right beneath the skin of my forehead. But this miracle was short-lived. They all returned in ones and twos. So now I hail them like Brother Francis did. Brother fly, sister fly, don't you see I'm meditating? Can't you use another convenient perch like the chair, tabletop, or even my laptop? Leave me to my world of self-identification with the creatures of this universe in infinite compassion and brotherhood. Yes, of course, you included. My next poem is titled Coping. Coping. The sparrow was lame on one foot, in the sand pecking, perhaps. Lone, neglected, it sat at the edge of the puddle from the public water tap, weighing options. Finally plunged in, had a cool dip to assuage the Delhi summer. A few frantic playing of wings later, it waddled on and hoped ashore, limped a few steps, hauled itself atop a stump, then managed a vertical flight to a lone branch. Suddenly from nowhere, 3-4 sparrows converged onto the huddled figure. She flew away startled and found sanctuary in the dense green foliage of a mulberry tree. And flitting from branch to branch, preening herself madly all the while, she tried to ward off partial amnesia. There is another Libya poem, short one. It is something like our elusive Delhi spring. It's titled Sunset over the Sahara. The western sky at the horizon, ablaze with the cool flames from the shimmering fire burning gold. The dunes, the rooftops, the mini minarets, awash with the soothing lava of blinding, flashing yellow, the moment just before the last dip of the dazzling disk. This is a Delhi poem, recent. This is titled Galip's Haveli in Balimaran Road. In spite of being in Delhi for the last 23 years, I made it to this great site of the one and only Galip very recently. The timeless poet shares his home now with a shop. Never mind, faring better than many of Delhi's beloved bards who upheld the Ganga Jamuni Taqseeb and yet have left no earthly trace. One can only gaze around at the relics of his life with a lump rising to one's throat. Such exalted conceits, wordcraft, humor, unbending sense of honor bruised by history's nasty turns, perpetually in debt, yet never perturbed in his angelic self. Homeless, ever roaming in spirit, he would have little value for a majestic dwelling place like this. He would even forgive the garish facelift to his long lived-in one-time quarters. He knows these and the countless tomes churned out about him are well-meaning attempts to keep his memory alive. He would even forgive this my lame verse in his name. I request request Mansi to tell me when it is time to stop. The next poem is Being. It is a self-reflexive poem. Lying diagonally in the wide bed, vaguely listening to the early morning sounds of bird chirps, an occasional car horn, against the soothing murmur of the slow falling rain, the fan swirling above at tempest speed, smugly detached from the blasting past and the mirage smile of the future. 66 years of struggles and joys, blood bonds close to the heart, all suddenly a big void. The haunting prods of should have been strangely absent. No place even for ambivalence. Each individual path fading into the fog horizon at different directions. Somnolence spreading like a blanket, inducing weightlessness. Like a kite cut loose, the mind hovering around consciousness. Life's drama unfolding before the inner eye. The next poem is titled Outing with a Lambros Demon. It's a conundrum. Please listen to it. Try to find the meaning of it. Don't go by names and forms, that's all I can tell you. He is the most suave and alluring presence when you are under his influence. His syrupy of speech, smeared all over with unguents, his features so smooth like a flowing river. Rotund, plumb-limbed, he cushions you against his person most intimately. Once in his embrace, although you like to separate and flee, you cannot. You begin to enjoy your sweet immobility far too long that you don't realize how far away from home you have drifted, clinging to him, stuck in his armpit like an old carpet bag. Carried away by the scent of his perfume, you close your eyes in a half reverie. By and by, lethargy creeps in. You slowly discover that the scent has turned into a horrid stench. You realize you have moved far away from home. Perhaps you can still see the faint glow of the lamp at the window. This is when you remember to wriggle out of his grip. Don't worry, he won't resist. He has had his fill of you for the time being. He will go his way, and you, sucked out of your vitality, will drop to the ground and slouch there like a loosely filled bag. It's for you now to slowly inhale and inflate yourself to your original size. Trudge your way back home after this languorous excursion. The next one is titled Fireflies. It's a short poem. Fireflies. I'm watching the fireflies blinking and streaking past like thoughtlets coming to me. Before claiming them as my own, much less than catching the fireflies, I watch myself going into the motions of snapping at them with my hands. No question of possession or rejection. Another one is a short poem again. It's titled Sculpting Sound. Sculpting sound was something I knew nothing about, and yet I knew that sound is the only reality behind everything. Beyond forms, shapes, and colors, only sound is the primordial beginning. The next one is one of my favorites. It's titled Shurpanakha. Shurpanakha. My enticing smile, alas, reveals only my fangs. My enamored fondling of your winsome shoulder are but scratches with my talons. My love-burned eyes turn into two blazing embers. My bosom aqua with passion for you reveal only my hirsute teats. How am I to love you, Rama, with all these treacherous exteriors? My love for you is the yearning for the eternal you with a capital Y. But this is how I am defined, and you, of all people, spurn me? You are all seeing, aren't you? How come you can't see my heart burning in Panchagni, yearning for union with you? Your petite wife, whom you call half your body and soul, will soon turn fickle and jump out of the circle your slave brother has confined her in on your behalf. You can't spurn femininity and get away with it. I am Shurpanakha, the sole sister of the conqueror of heaven and earth, yet I fail in front of you, Rama. The molten lava of my tears will engulf your epic in flames of devastation. I have a couple of poems more. And, the next one is also a very small one. It's an old one titled Living Others' Lives. It's a week since we returned. This week will slip into the next and several others. Yet the dust on the marble floor, the cobweb in the corners, the moldy smell of the rooms not in use for long will remain as they are, for we are not the residents here. Only preoccupations, obligations, and tasks live here. Time is retailed, packed and labelled, favouring each demanding customer. Time to eat, time to mate, time to sleep, we never have enough. Forced to live others' lives, dream others' dreams, we remain. The next one is titled Rustic Vignettes. The wind is the same as ever over the centuries, blowing in stiff, straight drafts, keeping the tree leaves akimbo, and black-tipped clouds in great straight streams. The sky looks clean-washed and dipped in indigo, hung out dry. The sunshine seems to shimmer more, as if it has a life of all its own. The rural spirit superimposed with the aspirations of a fast globalizing world. Young women flash away on kinetic Hondas, older women on mopeds drudge on with funny caps on their heads. Now this is the last poem I'm going to read. I have, I think, taken 20 minutes. This is titled Not This, Not This. Neti, Neti, you remember, that's it. And there is a character called my brother in it. And I begin with his quote. I quote, "It glows within. It has no name, no form, no words to describe it. And all these its are with a capital I, please remember. No words to describe it, no language to structure it. These are born much, much later. After that, grammar and interpretations. Beware, the Shastras take it away. Literature and the arts operate merely on its reflected light. Those who get stuck there miss it. Each name, each form polarizes away their own shades of energy, but it is an absolute concentrate, ever effulgent. Only individual experience can blaze it forth. It is beyond good and bad, papa, punya, nothing sticks to it. No virtue, no vice, least of all karmas of any sort. It's like death, reaching there, no turning back. Not even the guru is there as an entity. It's a million gurus each second. Call it Zen, Jnapti, or direct cognition, whatever. one can talk about it only in extremes, because there is no polyphony possible here, no multiplicity of meanings. Of it, it is said, in the beginning there was the Word. No wonder one has to say, not this, as nothing is able to contain it. There isn't one particular way of perceiving it. Each one is on one's own. Here the quotes close. The character, my brothers. So this is the end of it. I thank once again Professor Ashwini Kumar, Mansit and Raj Shetty, and the entire team, Kitab Khana, and also the Indian Novels Collective for giving me this opportunity. And let us all hope for a better tomorrow. Let's all look out and feel the energy of the sun. I think this brief house arrest is going to end soon and better days will come. Until then, let us live with forbearance. This is my earnest wish. Thank you.